Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where, you know how I said I didn't really know what we were going to be doing this episode in the last episode? Yeah, I still don't know. Um, mm, Maybe we'll plant that rover on Eve. That might not be the worst idea. Let's go ahead and pop open the Geraldo Mark 1 then. This thing is a little bit on the spendy side, but it'll get us there for sure. Now, as far as landing this thing goes, I mean, we don't necessarily actually need all of this, is the thing. Like, we can make a variant of this and call it the Geraldo Mark 1 Atmo, which we'll basically only use for Eve. And we'll go ahead and save this. And we don't really need the Sky Crane concept. So we're going to go ahead and ditch all of that. And in its place up here, well, for one thing, we're going to need to go ahead and put the negative gravioli detector on here. There we go. That doesn't look goofy at all. And then we're going to need some pretty hefty parachutes. Like, we could have in mirror symmetry mode, we could have a pair of radial mount drogue chutes, like that. And then something along the lines of... what do we have here? That's a drogue. That's a double-size Mark 16. Looks like overkill. We could have something like a standard Mark 16, or we could have like a pair of Mark 2Rs on here somewhere. I mean, we could just have a single one right smack dab in the center. Like that. Now, we're going to need something else as well. And that something else is on top of this, like right here, in between the fairing and the mounting structure here, we are going to be needing something along the lines of a heat shield. Not just any heat shield, we need a mega heat shield. Which it would appear that we did not grab. Let's go ahead and save this guy. Did we not grab that? I thought for sure we had it. Where is it? Here, heavy landing. Okay, so we need 300 science to pull this off. So we need a little bit more science. Can we do that? We might actually be able to get that. Let's first hop over to the Geraldo Mark 1 Light at Minmus. And let's see what we can get from Minmus. Looks like nothing. Okay. Oh, we landed right by our flag. So I guess that's not a huge surprise. I mean, transmitting it has 0% science value, so... yeah, that's not going to be an option. Okay. We only need 14 science, so surely we've got that hidden somewhere that we could grab. I mean, if worse comes to worse, we could grab it here on Kerbin. So let's go ahead and head on over to... let's see. Our Mark III orbiting Gilly? No, the one orbiting Eve would be more likely, I think. Let's see. Just a mystery goo observation that we can't do? Okay. Looks like that's not viable. This thermometer here. 0% science value. Okay. Back to the tracking station then. In that case, if both of those are good, are good to go, the one orbiting Moho is almost certainly good to go as well. Probably even the Geraldo Mark I probe on Moho, yeah? Oh, look at this. We can get some science. Temperature scan. Transmit for 40 science. Excellent. Atmospheric pressure scan. Transmit for 60 science. Excellent. Seismic scan. 90 science. Excellent. Okay, well, that's what we need. Fantastic. Back to the Space Center. And now we can get our giant, enormous, ridiculous-sized heat shield. Fantastic. Because we have 467.1 science. There we go. 10-meter heat shield. Excellent. So, here's the thing. This heat shield is ludicrously sized. Now, this thing is going to be a lot lighter, because we're not going to be transmitting all of, or transferring all of that fuel on. So, what else can we do? Well, there are a couple of things. Eve is really, really hot. So we may want to have some radiators on this thing. To the point where we might want to move our photovoltaic panels. Make them be mirror symmetry, and then like this or something. And then have our radiator panels be over here, mounted sideways. Kind of like that. Hopefully that'll work. Okay, and the other thing that we wanted to do is take off the protective shell, put on the massive heat shield. There we go. So, with this massive heat shield, let's reroute this quick. Select this. We're going to make the Rove Mate be the root. Excellent. And now we can take this off, and here's the thing. That's the heat shield. This, it's kind of big, but it's necessary. Okay, so the weight of this thing, if I save this, I just want to see what the actual mass of this rocket is. So it's about 427 kilograms, 1,000 kilograms. So let's try opening up the other one, the Geraldo Mark I, and let's see what the mass of that thing is. Okay, so it is about 1,000 kilograms lighter. Good to know. Although I do want to, yeah, our staging is really messed up. To be expected. So let's fix our staging here real quick. Airstream protective shell, I mean, we're going to do that manually. We might as well put that in its own stage up here. This engine will be firing... Actually, this stage is correct. It's just in the wrong place, I think. These pop off. What is this decoupler? Is that the one up here? Yes, it is. Okay, so this needs to be basically up here with the fairing. Okay, and then the parachutes need to be in their own stage 0. We'll put the drogue chutes on first. So that would be the 2 radial mount drogue chutes. And then the radial mount parachute will be in its very final stage here. And that should be more than enough to get this thing safely to the surface, theoretically. The atmosphere on Eve is really, really thick. So those two things combined with the heat shield, which deploying the heat shield is not actually in the staging, but that's okay. So we have 12,000 Delta V. That should be more than enough. We should be just fine getting there. So here we have it. Now, if I recall correctly, MechJeb was having a bit of a hard time launching this monstrosity. And actually, now that I think about it, there was a good reason that I was going to fix, but I never got around to it. So that was actually with the lander, though. Well, let's go ahead and do a gravity scan here, grab our 6 science, and recover the vessel. There we go. And once we have the vessel recovered, then I want to throw on a couple of struts. Specifically, and I want to double check a couple of things as well. I already checked staging, but I just want to make sure, yeah, no oxidizer in these. And the struts that I want to throw on is simply connecting from here, and we should actually be in quad-coupled symmetry for this. From here up to here. I just want to make sure to reinforce this area. Okay. That should work fine, theoretically. Well, let's see about getting this thing into orbit, shall we? There we go. So we're just gonna do a classic ascent profile. I don't think we need to do anything else. Engage autopilot. We don't have KER on this thing. Revert to vehicle assembly. Why don't we have KER? I don't recall removing KER. But, I mean, it's not wrong. We don't have KER. So let's go ahead and, in the science, let's slap on a computer flight unit. Where do we want to put it? Just right back here? I mean, it's physics-less, so this should be fine. Yeah. That should be okay. Okay, let's take this thing to Eve. I have tried to land a rover on Eve before. It didn't go so well. But I've learned a few things since then. That was... Boy, that was probably 4 years ago. Something along those lines. This rover, this one should land on Eve. Okay, MechJeb, don't fail me now. Well, so far so good. It's not, you know, horribly losing things. Although, I do remember that I wanted to maybe move these tail fins to the outer stages. Maybe not. I don't know. Well, looks like it is getting a bit of a roll on. It's unfortunate. I would prefer that you didn't, MechJeb, but go ahead and do corrective steering. That would be fine. Wow. That's some interesting effects. Never seen it doing this spiral thing before. It's a little disconcerting. MechJeb? MechJeb, you okay? You okay there, MechJeb? What are you doing, MechJeb? I've heard of corrective steering, but that's ridiculous. What is this engine that's out of fuel? Oh, that's the problem. What happened there? I didn't change anything with that assembly. So, one of the engines lost fuel. Oh, I see. I gotcha. Did that remove it from all 3 of those? I think it did. From all 4, actually. Okay, so for whatever reason, only one of the 4 fuel ducts was attached. So it was only pulling fuel from one of the tanks. And that tank ran out of fuel, and then just became dead weight. Hence why that roll started. Or rather, that pitch started pitching over. Yawing over? Whatever. It started flying weird. It no fly good. Now it fly better. Caveman rocket science. It is truly the best. Okay, let's try this again, now that all of our stages are actually flowing fuel. I don't know how that happened. I did not touch that. I mean, maybe it, for some reason, didn't reattach 3 of them when I rerouted the part and added in the heat shield. That's the only thing I can think of. But other than that, this appears to be flying pretty well, actually. Now that it's actually, you know, balanced. Kinda wacky when just one engine runs out of fuel and the others don't, and your center of mass goes all over the place and your center of thrust goes all over the place in the other direction, and you just can't correctively steer all of that. We're still doing this nonsense. And that appears to, interestingly, be in a plane. Look at that. Well, we're through max Q, so I think we're going to be just fine. We don't have too much of a roll going on. So I think we're going to be fine to detach our engines here in another 30 seconds, actually. It's a bit surprising. I'm not sure what that plane is, but it's getting worse. Maybe if we zoom out and back in? Nope. Maybe if we zoom in a bit further. Yeah, that dealt with it. Kind of. Okay, so we're going to be detaching these stages here in... Oh, we're not actually. We have made it to our apoapsis height. And our KER HUDs aren't on. There we go. We are currently dealing with a bit of momentum going this way, but that's fine. MechJeb is trying to deal with it. Once we get out of the Atmo, it'll be fine. We have plenty of pad room up here, so no real concerns. Actually, MechJeb is trying to go with it now. It decided to just roll with this flip. And I don't mean roll literally. Well, MechJeb, you going with it? Okay, that's what you want to do? That's fine. MechJeb is actually trying to fight this roll a little bit, but it's mostly going with it right now. We should probably do a gravity scan. Transmit that on home. Oh. Right. Well, first off, we should deploy our fairing. There we go. Fairing deployed. Did that deploy the antenna as well? Yes, it did. Okay. So where is our negative gravioli detector? Here we go. Review data. Transmit. Now we can transmit our gravioli data. Excellent. Fantastic. 60 data received. MechJeb, why aren't you actually trying to get to the location of the maneuver node? Like, we need to get there. Okay, we just about have this roll under control now. But seriously, MechJeb, we need to be burning, like, right now. So let's just get on up this way. Okay, RCS can get turned off, since we're now going the correct direction. Come on. We're a little late on this burn, but we should have enough pad. I guess this teaches me to not pay attention to what MechJeb is doing. Okay, let's I can't throttle up the burn, it would appear. Disengage autopilot. Go to the node. We're doing this manually. Get out of here, MechJeb. There we go. We're good. I have no idea what MechJeb was up to there, but it wasn't doing its job, so I fired it. There we go. Periapsis is just about to be where we need it to be. It's currently at the negative position of where we need it to be. We're a bit late on this, so our eccentricity is going to be a little wacky, but this is fine. Okay, we are officially in orbit now. I'll call this good enough. So yeah, our eccentricity is definitely wacky. Let's go ahead and do some of these gravioli detections as long as we're here. Gravity scan in the grasslands. Go ahead and upload that as soon as we're done uploading the previous one. There we go. We are on the way. Excellent. Go ahead and stop time warp. Okay, that's water. We're just going to go around in orbit here and get as much gravioli science as we can. Water and shores we already got. Grasslands we already got. Water. Islands. Transmit. Transmit. There we go. Excellent. Grasslands. Islands. Grasslands. Mountains. Transmit that. Islands. Grasslands. Islands. Grasslands. Islands. Grasslands. Shores. Water. Grasslands. Water. Mountains. Islands. Grasslands. Islands. Grasslands. Islands. Grasslands. Highlands. Deserts. Deserts. No, we missed it. Maybe we'll get it again. Deserts. Transmit. Okay. I think that's probably everything that we're gonna get. Water, shore, desert. And yeah, KSC is right over here. Grasslands, islands, mountains. Hello, KSC. You're right there. Can actually see the runway from orbit. Look at that. Here's the runway. That's kind of cool. Okay, and at this point, I think we can safely say we got everything that we're going to get in this orbit. So, let's just go ahead and at the periapsis, actually, where are we in relation to Eve? We want to be going this way? Okay. So yeah, actually at the periapsis is perfect. At the periapsis, let's burn prograde and just get on out of here. Yep, about like that. And we are going to use the MechJeb maneuver planner, that is to say the maneuver executor, execute next node. Fantastic. Okay, while we very slowly rotate to that, I'm going to put a cut in, and next episode we'll be taking this lander, well, this rover, over to Eve. See you all then.